Welcome to the Tearing It Up podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow.
Got it.
All right. Well, happy, what day is it?
Wednesday. Hi, happy Wednesday. Good to see you.
You as well. Every day of the week is just a surprise. I feel like these days, the never-ending search for routine. And even though I have a set schedule for work for this month, I still don't know. I just feel like yesterday all day, I was like, I don't know what day it is. And I've been waking up, which it could be a good thing because I think it means I'm sleeping really well, at least before my alarm goes off. Like I wake up, and if I wake up before an alarm, I'm like, oh my God, like what time is it? And what day is it? Like, where am I? I've been so confused. Like it's tripping me out. I'm like, oh my God, what day is it? Like, where do I have to be? What do I have to do? I'm like, okay, wait, it's Saturday. Yep. Okay. All right. We're good. Or it's like, oh, it's Monday. Okay. What do I have to do? What time is it? And it's just, like plenty of times it'll be like 6 a.m. It's just like sunny out. And so, hi, Piglet, get off of me.
That's good. I think that does mean that you are sleeping well, and that's a nice feeling to have, especially in the summertime, because I feel like sleep gets so interrupted with, like you said, not really having a schedule and like it being so hot. So having to like reconfigure your sleeping quarters.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky with the heat thing because we did have a heat wave last week. It's cooled down a bit this week. I know it's been hot up there, but at night, it still cools down like 40 degrees, 30 to 40 degrees from what it is in the daytime. So it hasn't been like, super cold or anything, but it cools off enough, especially like in the fifth wheel. Sometimes it'll be a little cooler in here than it actually is outside when we get up in the morning, but yeah, we've been lucky for that part. Well, that's one thing I do love. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I hate that big temperature swing in the summer because I just want to wear like shorts and a t-shirt all night long, and once the sun goes down, sometimes you're like, oh, it's chilly now. But last week I haven't been feeling that. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can still wear shorts at night. It's just the bugs that make me put pants or long sleeves on. But yeah, so things are like, speaking of routine, I'm just always chasing that. And like I said, I have one kind of for August, and I got my truck. Okay, well, so last time I think I had it, right? I had my truck. I just got my truck, but so now it's been 2 weeks since we recorded. So that following week, we chatted on a Wednesday or a Thursday or whatever. But the next Monday, so I had my truck for just less than a week because I got it on a Monday night, and Monday morning my check engine light comes on.
No.
Yeah. So I was like,
still under warranty though, right?
Yeah. So, but I was just like freaking out, like, what the fuck? Like, what could this be? And then I was a little like freaking out because I didn't know exactly what my warranty was. Well, I didn't know what the issue was. So I'm like, I don't know if the warranty covers it. So I did get a warranty when I financed, but and it also is still under its like original warranty. So we had to go, and then I call service, right? I call Ford service, the dealership, and they're like, yeah, we don't have any appointments till November. And I'm like, what? Like, I just bought this truck from you last week, and you're telling me there's no kind of like priority for a situation like this. I mean, my check engine light just went on. Like, I can't wait till November. And obviously I could try and go to a different dealership, but the dealerships are very just like few and far between here. There's one in Reno, there's one in Carson City, which is like an hour away, and then Auburn, California, which is like an hour away. And we go to Auburn here and there because they have been a better dealership to deal with, but it's still like that's a whole thing to fucking try and get down there. So Andrew gets on the phone because we had gone to the dealership Sunday, so the day before, to look at a truck for him. Because he was able to, with his truck being wrecked, he got an insurance check out of it. And we weren't sure what we were going to do, like about getting him one since I just got one. But to ensure the fifth wheel properly, we have to have a vehicle that can tow it. And the red F-150 doesn't do that. So we like kind of got in a pinch where we had to get something bigger that would be able to tow the fifth wheel. First of all, we also really do need to move it, like just level it out. And we want to move it a little bit. Like we're not going to be moving it out of here, but we want to break more ground. And so we'll need to move it out of the way. And then we want to push it a little bit further back from where it is now to give us more space to work and continue like building the road from where we're at. And there's just like nothing available that he wants. So he was going to put a build in, but that takes like a year. So yeah, we just get in this pinch. We go look at the fucking vehicle. He starts talking to a sales guy and telling him he wants to like get this truck that we need right now. And then he would also like to put a build in because we can just trade the truck he gets in when that build is complete. So he texts his salesman and the sales manager of like, what the fuck, you know, we kind of dealt with a few issues getting the Ranger in the first place and feeling, you know, not very well taken care of and dismissed. And they just told us that we can't get in till November, and his sales guys and the sales manager like handled it and got us in like right away.
Awesome.
Well, so I was able to drop it off on like the next day, Tuesday. We took it down that night. Then driving home, the red truck check engine light doesn't just go off, it's fucking flashing, and the truck's like acting all funny, and we're like just heading out of Reno, like, oh my god, like are we even gonna make it home? Like what's going on? And it stopped flashing and things kind of settled. We get home, and but it took a week to get my truck done, and they weren't even like communicating at all. It's so weird. Just the communication is so lacking. We ended up going down Monday and
did they tell you what was wrong?
No, they didn't. They just said like parts ordered. So the thing is with these new vehicles, and they have this app and everything talks to each other. On my Ford app, the check engine light notification comes on there too and says that it detected a connectivity problem with like the turbo. And so it was a valve on that. So they had to order the parts and get it, but the parts didn't come till late Friday. And I knew this was going to happen. Like, we're not going to be able to pick it up till Monday. So I had it for a week, didn't have it for a week. And then Monday, we actually went down. We picked up my truck and his new truck. So, Piglet Thomas, please stop. So I'm feeling good about that fact. Like I said, still have these weird feelings of like a kind of shitty situation that put us here. And now we're like on top. It feels like this weird guilt and messed up universe thing, and I'm like, I just accept it, just be happy. Like good things happen from bad situations like all the time, and there's like people who purposely do shitty things and end up on top. I'm like, and we didn't, you know. Like
and in the midst of the story unraveling, it seems uncertain and scary and like bad decision making, but hindsight, you'll be like, oh, full circle, this is what this X, Y, and Z is what came good out of that scenario.
Yeah, things in life you know, change for the better, hopefully, you know. But yeah, like I said, from a bad situation, but it's like there wasn't nothing done maliciously, and you know, that makes this all undeserving. Piglet Thomas, man, stop. But yeah, so feeling
like, oh, you're sitting down talking to somebody, I need your attention now.
It's so annoying,
just like an actual kid.
No kidding. Yeah, but feeling pretty good now since we got the trucks Monday, and especially because the red truck was acting all fucked up. Like even if we got my truck, it was going to be like, well, now we have to take this to the shop. So again, we'll still be down a vehicle and might have to dump a shit ton of money to get this red truck fixed. So I feel a little less pressure on that. We can take it in, see what's going on, but we don't necessarily have to make any like decisions about it if it is going to cost a lot of money right now. We have room for it
Yeah.
to sit around and figure out what our steps would be with that. So it's nice that we both have reliable vehicles. We have something that can move this fucking fifth wheel so we can get it
Yeah.
leveled and like I said, just continue on with our projects up here because I feel like we felt pretty stalled for the last 2 months with just so many other things up in the air of like, okay, what do we do? What can we do next? And blah blah blah. But now it's kind of, it's August and I'm like, all right, we're settled now with our vehicle situations. Now we have to really get our shit together and figure out like a plan of what our next steps are because we don't have that much time before the weather, changes and can stop things. So we have a few things we have got to get done to make sure we're like set up a little bit better for winter.
Yeah.
So
It's
uh,
coming, man. And it's
yeah,
so hard to think of that in the midst of like a heat wave.
I know. And yeah, and then like in August, you're like, it only typically gets warmer.
Yeah.
And that's when the, quote unquote smoke season is more likely to come. Um, but yeah, I just was telling Andrew last night, I'm like, we have got to start, like really, we've been spending too much time in town because of the vehicle situation where
Yeah.
like one of us has to is off work later than the other. So we're going to town, we're down there, 6, 7 o'clock, and whether we're eating dinner down there or coming back here, we're not back up until 8. And like this has to stop. We have to like be coming
Reel
home
it
straight
in.
after work and like get into some projects and
Yes.
because otherwise Saturdays are only full day that
Yeah.
we have and I'm like that won't fucking do. He's talked about taking some time off but to get things done but that like a week just to work straight up here but that would be once we figure out renting another machine and just going full bore for it
Yeah.
but yeah
Um,
other than that or just kind of same old thing throwing
nice.
logs for my dogs.
Have the new tenants moved into your old house?
Yeah, they did couple weeks ago. Yeah, they got in there like towards the end of July. So they're all in there and it's been a little bit weird just because it feels so weird now when we go to town. And with his parents being across the street, we've literally been down there like every day for whatever reason between work and like I said, just one vehicle picking each other up or the dogs going down there. Um, so we're just parked at the parents and then just like looking at our house and then like seeing everything they have. Like one of the so it's a guy and a girl and they both have their own businesses. The girl, she has a food truck but she also does
Oh,
like a bunch of other stuff, I think kind of like handiwork or I don't know. And the guy
badass.
does he's like a tree faller, so he has a big truck and a chipper and stuff. Um, so those two big trucks are in there, and then they have a boat and like three trucks. And I mean, we thought we had a
Yeah.
lot of stuff having our like 40-foot container storage container and snowmobiles, but there's like two or three of Andrew's friends who keep their snowmobiles at our house. There's like 5 snowmobiles and 2 sled decks in the yard and stuff. And I always thought like we had a lot. And I'm like, wow, yeah, they're like running out of room in the
Great.
gravel where we're like, oh yeah, you got plenty of space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just seeing all the stuff and then they have people over, their friends, and like there's like 3 or 4 dogs over there. We're like, wow, like they're in and it's
Yep.
totally not our house or
Yep.
anything
The
anymore.
house has a whole new life now.
Yep, and the dogs have been like confused. They're getting better, but at first they'd be like going over there. And before the tenants moved in, when they'd be at Andrew's parents' house, they'd go over and just Piglet would just lay on the porch. Now
Yeah.
tenants are there, they've kept the gates shut, and Piglet a couple times has just like gone and laid at the end of the driveway. They're just like so confused, like, wait, that's my yard. What are these dogs doing in here? But they're starting to pick up on it now that we've been up here. And when we go down there, we're like only at the parents' house. So they're figuring it out, but I was a little worried of like, oh man, are we gonna now have to limit our time just down here in general because they're gonna be a pain in the ass, like running next door and bothering the tenants' dogs, and we're gonna be those annoying landlords who are fucking across the street every day.
Hey, how doodly doodly, neighbor.
Yeah. It was like, you know what? Like for the summer, it is what it is. And yeah, of course we're gonna be. That's Andrew's parents. And if
Yeah.
we don't have our, full setup, like we're also down there to shower and use water and things like that, like the amenities. So yeah, we will be around a lot, but we're just over there. Like we're not walking around or checking on them
Yeah.
every day. And the student, so now we also really want to get our container out of there and up here, so we definitely don't have any reason to go bother them or anything, because I've had to go in a few times like, oh, I need a paddle board, or I need like extra this or that. So yeah, now that we have our vehicle situation, then hopefully too we can load some shit up and get our machine to clear space and bring that up, and we'll be a little more
Yeah.
settled. Yeah.
Fuck shit up.
Yeah. But
So exciting. Have you
so
been working out?
not really, honestly.
Rude.
The last, again, I blame the vehicle situation, but it's also just with the dogs in the heat, and I feel so bad. Like if being up here now, and it's about 25 to 30 minutes to get to town. So if I want to, like, the best thing I could do, earliest I could do would be leaving here at 7:30 to get to an 8 o'clock class. From
Hmm.
that 8 o'clock class, go straight to work. My work schedule is set. We close the shop at 6, so I'm there until at least then.
Yeah.
And that, and if I came straight home, I'd be up here like 7 o'clock. So that's a 11 hour, 11 and a half, 12-hour day, depending on the time.
Yeah.
And that would be leaving the dogs all that time too. And I just feel so guilty because at the house in town, we could do that. I would still feel bad, but I would just be able to text his mom and say, hey, can you go like let the dogs out when you get home from work? And she's not usually home till 5, so it's still a long day for them, but shorter than getting home at 7. And with Andrew, his work schedule is just not set. He's out of the house by 6:30, but when he gets home, we really don't know. So it's hard to depend on like, yeah, he's off at 4, he's off at 5, he can go straight up there and get to the dogs. It might be a long day for them regardless. So it's been difficult. I'm hoping now that we are in our two vehicle situation again that we can work it out a little better and at least kind of stagger our days where I'm like, hey, I'm going to the gym this morning, so please make sure you get home, like go straight home after work. And he at least beats me home by an hour to let
Yeah.
him out. But with it being so hot, we don't want to leave him in the fifth wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm just not that ready to leave them like outside for
Yeah,
that
I hear
long.
you.
Our neighbors do with their dogs, and some of them wander, some of them don't. And I don't think Piglet really would. They have plenty of shade, like even though it's hot out, there's so much shade and breeze that it's much
Yeah.
cooler feeling outside than it would be if they were like stuck in the fifth wheel all day.
Yeah. And pets can usually like dig themselves into the dirt a little bit and get even a little bit cooler by doing
Yeah,
that.
I mean, and it's like 5 to 10 degrees cooler up here than it is in town. So
Yeah.
when looking at the
Game
forecast,
changer.
it's just like something I have to keep in mind. But like I said, the heat box of the fifth wheel, like that's gonna be close to the outside temp for sure. But
Hmm.
yeah, so my workouts have been really, really lacking, and I don't have any of my equipment up here. That's why I would really like to get it up here so that I can at least be doing that, and then I'm not having to
Yeah.
leave until 9 in the morning, and just be able to be outside with them in the morning. And I'm gonna have to just go back to doing solo at home workouts, I think, for a while. um I've just been so conflicted about it. I love going to CrossFit, especially when I have a good class. I'm like, oh, it's fun to be around people and like feel a camaraderie and like have someone cheer you on and push you. But I gotta have I'm thinking I'm just gonna drop down to the 10 class punch card so I can go when I can make it. Um,
Yeah.
and when I feel, like the need, which like my work from home days, I can go to an early class, then come home and get to the dogs before it's hot. Uh, but I don't have this pressure of like I have to go 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah. To
And
make it worth it, what you're
yeah.
paying for.
And if I have my equipment up here, I can follow the workouts if I want to stay on that program. And
Tight.
do that. But yeah, so my physical activity's not been the best, but I've also not been in the like greatest mental or
Yeah.
energetic state to like want to do it. There's times where
Oh, I
that
hear you
helps
on
get,
that.
yeah. There's times, having that routine helps, but there's times that it makes things more stressful.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been doing anything and I've just been so tired this week. I don't know what it is. Like lethargically tired and like sleeping until like 8:39 some days and I'm like what is going on? So but yeah, last month I was watching a girlfriend's house while she was out traveling and then two weddings. So it was just like a lot of uh things that pulled me away from myself and like what I need to get done in my home and my family. So I'm really looking forward to August to like really reel things in and focus on home projects and probably apply to a few jobs because fall's coming. So
Yeah.
Quincy will be in school and I'll just have like stuff to do for myself. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to August and seeing where things go.
Yeah, I've been hearing some stuff. I mean, I feel like I hear this all the time. Every month, every week, every day, whatever. There's something in the stars and the moon and the planets going on.
Yeah.
A woman who runs the paddleboard organization that I am certified under mentioned that there's a lot of planetary stuff going on. She's like, I could read your cards or signs or something if you want. And
Yeah.
I didn't have time to respond to the message in the moment. I want to like message her back, like, yeah, actually, please do be interested. But in the
Yes.
horoscope things I've been reading for August, it's definitely a flip from what July was. Uh,
Yeah.
and I'm not all super, I mean, I love it, but I don't retain that stuff very well. So I'm hoping it's a good flip and good sign as well
Yes.
for
I hear you on that. I know I was reading something that was like astrological, and they were saying that come August, which is Leo season, my season,
yeah.
um, you really start to like reel it in and focus on yourself and doing more self-care and like just like pulling your energies inward and giving more back to yourself, which I was like, okay, I can get down with that. And
Yeah.
especially like where my life is going now, I definitely feel that.
Hmm.
And the wedding, oh my God, Tara's wedding. And it was so good to see everybody that we like partied with bunnies all dolled up and gussied up and fancy. And I kept on telling Jack and Janie who got married, I was like, you guys got all of us dirt bags together to get all fancy and gussied up. And it was just so great to get together with everyone and just have it was just, the wedding was absolutely amazing. Janie looked so damn good.
I saw some
And
pictures. I was like, oh man, even Jack, he looked so good, like just gussied up. Like you
yeah,
said, every picture I saw, I didn't see too many, but some, and I was like, oh my gosh. And where was it? Because it looks so beautiful.
it was down at Janie's parents' house. And
Oh,
so
really?
they live down on Sunset Beach, which is down by Chambers Bay, and it's on the water. So it's kind of like one of those housing communities that are like literally on top of the water.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was
And
at like
her
a
parents,
restaurant.
yeah, that's where her parents live. And they recently remodeled within the last few years because it was just kind of like one of those like old like very like dark shacks on the water. they remodeled, and her mom was like, I just had this vision. And the last time I went to their house was for Janie's graduation, which was like 2.5 years, 2 years ago. And so to see it like in the new remodel, my mind was just like blown. Like I couldn't even picture what the old house looked like. It was just like
Wow.
so bright and lighter and just so much more space, and the flow was amazing. And yeah, it was just really cool to see the house. We have a visitor.
I see. Look at those two front teeth missing.
I know. You
And
want
it
to
looks
say
like
hi?
you got a mohawk. Do you have a mohawk or is
Yeah,
it just the light?
yeah, he got a mohawk. Him
Awesome.
and his he had some buddies who were, I guess we could say, in town because they live out in Belfair, but he has some buddies who he's kind of like grown up with, and they are moving away to Tennessee. So him and one of his buddies, because it's two brothers, and one of the boys didn't want to get a haircut. He's like growing his hair out to be all like long haired and shaggy. It's actually really cute. But the other brother needed a haircut, and Quincy definitely did too. So
only on the front, not on the sides.
yeah, but he needed a side haircut. He said that he doesn't like his haircut because the sides are too short, but the great thing about hair is that it grows out.
Yeah, I think it looks great, Quincy. And
I
it will
hate
grow back in
it.
no time. You would hate it.
It'll
Oh,
grow
you want to
back
buzz it
in
all
no.
off then?
Yeah. Your turn.
No.
You're just
You want
gonna
to buzz
buzz
it
it
all off?
all.
No.
That's funny. Well, that place looked amazing, and I thought it. I'm like, is that over
Stop
at
it.
Narrows Brewing? Like, what's like?
Yeah.
Looks so awesome and
Yeah, it
beautiful.
was her parents' house, and
Gorgeous
then the
house.
neighbors also let us use their home. So like during the ceremony, I could see like like just like all the friends were like up on this deck, and her uncle who was marrying them got really Jesus-y, like really Jesus-y. And even Janie was like, yeah, I had to like clear my throat to be like, okay, stop now, like read the room, man. um, because she grew up very religious, so her family
Uh-huh.
is very religious. And but as you grow, you like your opinion changes, you start forming your own opinions
Stop.
about stuff. And so a lot, and like Jack's family I don't think is religious at all. So yeah, it was just funny. He was like talking about sin and all this other stuff, and like just all these like Tacoma dirt bags are like,
Like,
okay,
yeah, we're all
all
burning
right,
in
bud,
hell. We
I
know
need
that.
some space from you
No.
now, please.
No.
Quincy,
No. No.
if
No.
you
No. No.
Yeah, it just so many weddings and engagements happening, and I know that you get to an age that this starts like happening, right? All your friends are getting married or having kids, but I felt like that's talked about happening a lot like in your 20s, and I'm like, we're
yeah.
in our like mid 30s now, and I feel like this is where I'm really seeing the boom of everyone is engaged, married, or having kids. I've got a few friends obviously that have kids or married, but I just feel like it's not even friends now, it's just everyone around me. Like every day I feel like on Instagram someone's like getting engaged or they're pregnant. I'm like, what the fuck is happening around
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, we're definitely at that age.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. And then yeah, seeing people like from the past, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Hi Murray. When does school start, after Labor Day or just before Labor Day?
The 30th at the end of this month.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
then next week I'm putting Quincy in a sport camp, so we'll have a little bit of a routine there, and I'll be able to start looking and having the time to like apply to jobs, because I'll see jobs and be like, oh, I should apply to that. Oh, I should apply to that. But just like getting yourself in that mindset to be like, I am the greatest candidate for this, because you just have to like get yourself in that like ass kissing, I want to say,
yeah.
professional mindset where you're like, pick me. And I also need to go into it being like not not pick me, but being like, I'm right for this job and you need me, like you'll be lucky to have me on your team, like that.
Yeah,
'Cause I feel like
100%.
a lot of men generally go into interviews like that and are more, and even statistically it shows, like, are more likely to be like, give me this salary, this is the
Yeah.
salary that I want, this is what I'm worth, and,
Yep.
and
And
women
same with
are
like
like,
raises.
yes. So I really need to hone in on that and just like
Yeah.
go for
I think you should just start, saying some affirmations or something like daily before you get into it. Like before, when does Quincy start sports camp? Next week?
it. Yeah, on next Monday.
Yeah, this week, just start getting your mind into like thinking about a couple of the jobs you want to apply for and kind of getting it in your head, rehearsing it of like, yes,
Yeah,
like this, I want this job and I am good at like for it and this and that. So that way when you come down to write it out, it's been in your head a while. But I know what you mean too, with the how you feel. You've the last week, like you said, been just like tired, lethargic, and in your head maybe and stuff, that it's super hard then to exude that energy and
the
confidence
best.
in writing it out. You're just like, no. And I also feel like, in again, just because me myself is am this way and a woman, but I do feel like it is more of a woman thing, that we don't really compartmentalize that stuff very well, whereas maybe men are better at compartmentalizing their, I can't say that fucking word well, but their
Yeah,
energy, where it's like I can separate, like I can have a lot going on in my life and I can go to work and I can fucking get my job done. Yes, maybe my mood's not the best exuberant
yeah,
person, but I can still leave my stuff at the door for the most part and get the job done. But when you have to sit there then and kind of write about yourself or be confident and you're just kind of feeling not that way in your life, like I haven't been
yeah,
working out, my energy's low, I'm not
yeah.
feeling that good in general about life and things, that how am I supposed to now
Show up
and
as
go
my best
convince,
self.
yeah, and convince someone else that I am all these things when I'm just not feeling that way. And we all go through those times of feeling kind of sulky, and just not
Yeah,
into it, whether it's just like about yourself and lacking confidence, or just simply completely low energy and just in that
yeah,
questioning kind of mode, that I always have to put that kind of stuff off. I really see it come through in my different kinds of work, or even like posts and social stuff when it comes to
yeah.
business, that I'm like, when I'm feeling real good, it comes out. That's why I kind of hate social media as um having to kind of use it for business, because
Yeah.
for me it's really, I do it when I'm like feeling good and it's like
Yeah.
happy and authentic and energetic, and so when I have to do it for work, even like for the shop, it can be hard. I'm like, I don't fucking want to be on social media, even though
Yeah.
this is like I'm making a post about shoes. Like
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
creative mind is not sparked. It just feels dull and
Yeah.
fake. And
I
uh
just have to show up here.
yeah, like gosh, it is such a interesting beast. But
It really is. It really is. And we're definitely of the first, like, this is in current time, it's evolving as it's happening.
mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah,
know how else to say it.
yeah, totally. Well, hopefully, like I said, by next week, if you just kind of have that in your thoughts now, that that's what you're
Yeah.
going to be putting your mind to next week, that this week you can kind of get all the like blech
Yes, yes,
energy out
yes.
and go into next week feeling good and just bust some good shit out and be applying for jobs that you actually really do feel that way
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, and there's some good jobs right now, and like if I don't get them, that's okay. I think I'm definitely going to go back to school, even if it is like taking some computer classes at the local community college. Like I just want to get back into like improving some things that I lack.
hmm I know, same. There's been like a digital marketing course I've wanted to take for a long time, and I keep looking at it, and I want to bring it up to my boss just for him to take a look and tell me his opinion of like, do you think this would really like, help? Because if that doesn't, I would like to find something else, because it's super hard for me to sit there and teach myself a bunch of stuff. For instance, like we're gonna start
Yes.
using fucking TikTok, and I just don't have the patience to sit there and like read different articles or try different things and figure out the algorithms, whatever's fucking shit. Uh,
Yeah.
and I also want to just learn other tactics, not just
Yes.
around the socials. So doing
And
something
the
like
proper, like the proper way, like there's
yeah,
a way to go about most things, and
yep.
there's like a structure and an order, and that's what I need to
And I
learn.
just don't necessarily want to waste time
Yeah.
trying to figure it out when these days there are actually available courses and education about them, because it is so in our world, like so entwined, that people do this for a living in education. It's like courses in classes now, and it is in marketing degrees to learn this shit. So
Yeah.
there is legit things to kind of cut out the BS, like I said, of me trying to sift through the garbage or learn from a 13-year-old. Like,
Yeah.
no, there's business tactics to these
Yes.
things. And like I said, not even just social, but how can I get better at the other kinds of marketing that we do? And even if it's like fucking, in my mind, like learning how to set more structure and schedule for myself to be more
Yeah.
effective and efficient in my job, which kind of reminds me of another subject that we've talked about with like kind of the ADD type feeling and
Yes.
medication and shit. And I told Andrew last night, I'm like, I really think I am gonna go to talk to my doctor and like give something a shot, because I've talked to a lot of friends lately who have tried different avenues, and I'm like, I feel so out of sorts and out of wits that at this point I just want to try something different, and if it works, awesome. If it doesn't, I know it's not for me. But
Yes.
my brain is so like fucked up feeling that I
Yeah.
feel like it needs some help, and whether it ends up being like, here's a little like Adderall and it does work to keep me focused, awesome. But
Yeah.
maybe it's like, nope, I just need to, yeah, actually go to therapy and get some shit out of my brain and find some new tactics to help me stay focused. But like I said, I'm just tired of wasting time in general, and so I want to try different routes. And I really don't want to take medication just because I don't ever want to be reliant on something.
Yeah.
But I really feel at like the end of a fucking rope right now that I need some kind of fucking help. And either that's like talking to a person or getting a little like focus medicine. I'm worried about the other ways that it can affect you, because I know a lot of people don't like that kind of medicine because it makes you feel kind of like uh
Zombie.
yeah. But if I have like an inkling of that feeling, there's no fucking way that I would stay
And
with it.
I have never done Adderall or like taken it consistently, but I feel like maybe you could like take it for a day and then maybe for 2 days not, and take it again when you need.
And that's what I was thinking and hoping for, as far as like what the kind of work that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need it every day. Like I don't want to pop a few when I'm working at the shop just so I have like, a ton of energy. I just want to be able to, on my work from home days, like be able to focus, because I'm like, it's not just working from home and learning this new role and figuring out how to be task oriented, single task oriented. It's been a struggle for a long time. I'm constantly doing 500 things at once. I'm like, why does
Yeah.
it take me an hour to make coffee? Like for real. I I just start to do so many things instead of focusing on one. So that's where I'm just really starting to think and notice, like, is this really a thing? Like, yeah, maybe it's just me and I need to just to be better, but do I need outside help? Because I'm fucking 34, and like I said, I can't, it's not often I can just do a simple task and get it done in the 5 minutes that it should take, because I start so many other things at
Also,
once.
I like maybe it is planetary, like you mentioned earlier. Also, it's summer, but like I feel very similar to what you're explaining. And I just feel like my head is like 5 miles above my body. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to like reel it in and refocus. And it's hard. Like, and I have therapy today. So maybe I'll talk to my therapist about that and be like,
Yeah.
and what is it? Like, is it because of the summer? Because I get like that in the summer. And like, of course, for the month of July, I was like, embrace the no schedule. And now I'm like, oh, fuck, I need something.
Same.
So,
Yeah.
so hopefully, and like even my girlfriend Magdalena, who was the maid of honor for the wedding, she was like, man, now that I feel like the wedding's over, I feel like I can like get back to life. And I feel very similarly. And it's not like the wedding or Janie or Jack were like very like high demanding of us. It was just like when you have things like that where it's like big and important, so much of your energy, whether you know it or not, goes towards these things, and it's just nice when it's over.
Yeah, totally. No,
Like,
it just
don't get me
makes what
wrong,
you,
it was such a
yeah.
beautiful wedding, and I was so glad to be there and to support those sweet lovebirds, but it's a lot.
No, it's exhausting when there's just other things or events and stuff going on. Like, even if it's weekly in the summer, right? There might be like, oh, here's a birthday, here's a wedding, here's a fucking barbecue, whatever
Trip.
it is. There's just so many
Yes.
things that, yeah, you always feel like your schedule is kind of full without being full. And there's always someone else or something else to think about. And
Yes.
yeah, so I feel like that's where my brain has kind of been, is just like in so many other different directions that it
Yeah.
isn't focusing. But like, it's like that pretty often. It's not isolated to one season,
Season.
and I just think maybe it's been heightened for sure in the last month. But all these things too of, I want things done and I want them done now. And it's really
Yeah.
hard for me to be like, oh, this will take a couple of years. It might be 5 years. I'm like, I don't want to wait until I'm fucking 5 years older to be living this like better set up life than I am now. I just, yeah, at a certain age it was a little easier to do, and now I feel like, no, I want it done now. How long are we gonna live like this? And then like feel like I've become so high maintenance in certain
Yeah.
things that it like, no,
Which is fine. That's just who you are.
yeah,
Also, I will say that like having property and like all these projects and wants and things, it's very humbling.
yeah,
It's very humbling. And then also back to the like having enough energy or like the focus to do things. I feel like some days I'm like on my shit and
yeah,
like doing the best. And then the next day I'm just like, bleh. Like I'm
same,
just like spent and my
yeah,
battery is like exhausted, and it's just it's not consistent. And I just
mhm.
like I don't think that that is a thing, but like if Adderall does that, then great.
I know. So that's,
Awesome.
I know that's how I feel. I'm like, I'm really tired of the ups and the downs. And so, yeah, it makes me feel a lot better hearing that I am not the only one who deals with that.
Yeah.
But I know that there has to be a little bit better of a balance. I know a perfect balance all the time is not, there, but
Yeah.
mine is so fucking far off. Or it's like the days that I'm starting to like can stay on task and get things done. It'll be like I have 2 hours in the morning where I'm just whipping everything up, but then I have to go work at the shop or something. And then I'm like, well, shit, I was on a roll, but now I have to stop because I like, why couldn't I have had this focus and energy on the day that I had a full day to get all these tasks done? Um, and it could just be because I don't have that time restraint or certain structured schedule or whatever, that
Yeah.
it's harder to stay on task. But yeah, I'm just at my wits end for sure, and want to try something to at least hopefully get the ball kind of rolling, and like you said, it would be something that maybe I don't have to depend on, or because I do not, I'm terrified of getting to the feeling of like, oh, if this works then like, relying on it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. So I'm kind of hoping, as with most things that I think will work and don't, that this will be the case. Like I try it, does nothing, because I at least know I tried it and I have to figure out something else. I'd rather do that than like be stuck getting like relying on it. But
And another thing to put into question is like, is it genetic? Is it environmental?
yeah,
Like, is there something within our food system or our water? Or like, is it like us being technology people now where it's like phones, computers, social media, like all these like what?
yeah,
And also like just trying to sit with that and being like, what is it? What is the thing?
yeah. And I feel like be as you mentioned those things, that ideally what would happen first is like therapy and talking to somebody and kind of talking about those things and figuring it out from there, and the last step going towards some like medication. But unfortunately I feel like the medication route is the easiest because it's easier to make an appointment and spend 15 minutes talking to someone and either getting the prescription or not, and more cost effective than trying to find a therapist that is under insurance, or that I could pay out of pocket, and that works for me. And again, though, it comes back to instant gratification of that might work right away, whereas the therapy takes a little bit of time. I definitely would prefer to be doing it the other way, but
And
being
also
kind of the
when it comes to just like needing to function in your day-to-day life, like you need that sooner rather than
totally, so I don't know, I have not made an appointment yet, but I just decided like I'm gonna fucking try it, and I don't really care about
what's the shame in
judgment.
trying? And when you do try, you learn things as you go. So
like you said, you learn how to hopefully like cope with it, with or without. And just the biggest idea behind it, or reason behind it rather, is to feel better mentally, to take care of myself, and that is the driving force to get my mental health and physical health and everything better. And to do that, I need to figure something out. I need some kind of outside
I
help,
believe
and I
in
just
you.
don't know what that help is exactly.
I think you'll figure it out when you want something, when there's like something that you're like, oh, I need this, it'll come. It'll come, whether you like work hard at it and make it happen, or whether it's just like, oh, this thing organically happened, which in a perfect world that would be lovely, but and it doesn't always happen that way, but it'll something will give.
Totally.
Even if it is a mental breakdown.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because like we said at the beginning of this, some great things do come out of really shitty and bad places. And
sometimes like your cat blows, and that's where it all like spills out, and you put the pieces back together after that spillage. And I kind of feel like the cap had already blown in the last couple weeks, that now it's coming to the like, let's figure out how to put the pieces back together type thing. So yeah. But I really did want to talk about like totally 180 of anything we talked about, but regenerative farming. However, I think we're gonna have to do it like next time, because I'm gonna have to go here and start getting ready for my day. I am doing for 3 weeks, just 1 day a week, just the 3 Wednesdays in a row, helping out with a junior lifeguard camp. And it's just a couple hours that I'm taking the kids out and paddling. And I've done it the last 2 years with different groups, but so I'm doing that today. But it has solidified in me of trying to work this full-time job, and taking whether it's clients or doing something like this, is like I don't have the capacity for it. So the only reason I said yes to this was because it was just on Wednesdays, just 3 in a row for 2 hours max. And I'm like, I can swing that. And with this just that little bit, I'm like, yeah, thank God. Like, I cannot say yes to anything else. Like, I have to be putting paddleboarding and personal training completely on the back burner right now because my brain's so fucking fried that I cannot commit to anything else besides what my full-time job is right now. So it's solidified my decision for this summer. Like, thank God I haven't said yes to like anything else, and it's like this is the last thing, unless it's a single day commitment on a Saturday of like, yeah, I'll go teach a private sup yoga class or something. But even that is, I'm not even trying. But yeah, so I'm gonna go do that today, and I'm like, but it makes me think like, okay, then one more next week, and fuck, I can't wait till next week's over, and I'm not saying yes again. And then I'll fucking say yes again.
For knowing those boundaries, and I think that is also part of figuring out your journey as to like how to regulate things.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get together early next week, or even maybe again, I don't know what your schedule is, and to kind of talk about, like, I'm no expert in regenerative farming or agriculture or anything like that, but I just thought it was an interesting topic with the way the world is going of climate and things like that. And I learned some interesting things about soil and stuff. And we've talked about wanting to hunt and do hunter safety classes. And like listening to this podcast that did talk about this subject had me thinking about us in the fall and doing that hunter safety class type thing and seeing what we might be able to come up with, and hopefully I'll be able to take my like 2 to 3 week vacation up there in the November time frame, which is during that season. So yeah, just it made me want to talk about that.
Ooh. Yeah, shoot me over that podcast and I'll give it a listen, and then I'll have more to add to that conversation.
Because then we can just kind of talk about like different things that they particularly said, and obviously then be able to direct people into resources and whatnot, because obviously I'm not taking everything just from this sole podcast. I've listened to stuff before about this idea, and so I have a few I might be able to send you that they're actually a couple years old, but it's when I first started to hear about it. And being up here on the property just kind of makes me think more about that too. And I know that you guys try to grow your own stuff at both places and whatnot, and so I thought you'd be super interested and have some opinions. So I will send that over to you. My dogs are going crazy chasing birds in the sky.
You'll never catch them.
Yeah.
Or you might.
Yeah, totally. Well, but it was good to catch up, and I hope that, the last time we talked, I think I was in the space of not good energy and feeling blah, and I feel like that's how your week's going now, and hopefully
I'll get back or whatever that was.
Totally. All right, well,
thank you.
Good to catch up, good to see you. So glad you had so much fun at the wedding.
Yes, it was amazing.
And we'll figure out when we can talk again and have an actual subject. I kind of like the flip-flop of updates and then subject.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, totally.
And have fun with those kiddos out there today.
Yes, yeah. They're a handful, but
yes, they are.
There's like 10 of them.
But you know what? Like in moments of like sometimes when I'm parenting and like Quincy's like really battling me, I try to be like, okay, well, how do we turn this into a game? And sometimes that really helps, because I mean, it's been so many years since we were children, so it's hard to like relate to like teenagers and children.
Yeah.
But just try to remember that when you're face to face with a child.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like I was pretty structured as a child. My parents could say otherwise, I don't know, but in these group environments, I listened and did the thing, and these kids don't. But today I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Like I've got some different tactics in my back pocket that I could pull out if like they're not wanting to do this structure. They're on the water, they want to have fun. They don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna specifically try this paddle, so I'm just gonna make games out of it. Of like, okay, like who knows how to turn? Okay, let's see you do it. Like, then just copy them. Or like, I've done a lot of races, so I'm definitely this year been much better of just having that complete loose kind of structure. And you know what? Like, have some fun. Those who want to listen and learn will be the ones asking the questions, and I can focus on. And as long as no one drowns, like, we're good.
And I don't know if you do this in the classes, but like learning how to fall off of your paddleboard and accepting it as like a part of paddleboarding.
Yep, I do that. I do that. But I think today I'm gonna instead of just tell them like, hey, if you feel like you're gonna fall off, it's totally fine. Just like, I'm gonna actually be like, hey, we're gonna practice it. So everyone jump in the water, because that's the thing they ask is like, can I get in? And I used to be like, not yet. And like last week I was like, go for it. But just don't lose your paddle.
And I feel like with like the way you're feeling about like being all scatterbrained and stuff, I feel like maybe you could try to take something with like working with these kids and like embracing the chaos, because children are just absolute fucking chaos. And I mean, we all turn out okay.
Eventually, some of us, totally.
Yeah. Well, have fun with that today.
Thank you. I will.
Yes. I'll see you again soon.
Yes. Goodbye. We hope you enjoyed this episode and would do us a huge favor, since we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, and would rate and review us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever it is. And if you're listening and downloading just through the website, tearingituppodcast.com, leave comments. We'll definitely engage back with you. And on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.